Israel, in a sweeping operation with the United States, wiped out the Iranian terrorist network that was spreading death from Cyprus to Azerbaijan. The elimination of the masterminds of the Revolutionary Guards left Tehran reeling, revealing plans for drone attacks and sabotage of energy pipelines. Cyprus's involvement as a transit station for explosives highlights the deadly danger in the region. Despite the overwhelming blows, the Islamists are trying to regroup, but the iron fist of Mossad and AEDF signals a nightmarish future for anyone who dares to threaten the security of the region and Greek interests. Iran releases shocking video footage from secret underground facilities, showcasing endless rows of missiles and drones being produced at an astonishing speed. Commander Mahit Mousavi and Moshtaba Khamenei make it clear that the recent U.S. and Israeli attacks failed to weaken the country's arsenal, which is now being strengthened as an absolute priority. Despite Reuters' reservations about the authenticity of the footage, Tehran presents an image of an iron tide ready for counterattack, turning the Middle East into a vast arsenal awaiting the spark of final ignition. Donald Trump declares the end of diplomatic tolerance, accusing Iran of violating the ceasefire and attacking French and British ships in the Strait of Hormuz. While his negotiators head to Islamabad, the United States enforces the blockade, costing Iran $500 million a day. The warning is clear. If Tehran rejects the fair agreement, the U.S. Air Force will destroy all energy infrastructure and every bridge in the country. Today's massive deployment of fighter jets and bombers confirms that Iran's death machine is in the crosshairs of a full-scale attack. Donald Trump states that the agreement with Iran is ready, but Tehran rejects his claims as digital sensitivity covering up an imminent surprise attack. With the FARS and Espionage agencies setting the lifting of the naval blockade as a non-negotiable condition, Islamabad's diplomatic path seems like a dead end. At the same time, Benjamin Netanyahu is escalating tensions, describing the ceasefire as fragile and Iran as the great tyranny threatening the West. The region is balancing on the edge of the abyss, with Israel keeping its finger on the trigger and the U.S. tightening the noose of the blockade. In a show of absolute power, the American destroyer Spruance intercepted the Iranian cargo ship Tushka in the Gulf of Oman. After the crew refused to comply, American forces breached the ship's engine room, immobilizing it instantly. Donald Trump announced the seizure of the vessel by Marines, emphasizing that the ship was already under sanctions for illegal activities. This action is meant to send a strong message to Tehran. The American control of the sea routes is absolute, and any attempt to violate the blockade will result in violent suppression. The deployment of the USS Gerald Ford in the Red Sea, along with the Abraham Lincoln and George Bush, creates an unprecedented concentration of firepower aimed at the complete naval and air strangulation of Iran. The intense activity of KC-135 and KC-46A refueling aircraft reveals preparations for long-range and sustained strikes, while the blockade of Iranian ports is turning into a de facto siege. Despite the rhetoric of a temporary agreement, Ceuta served as the base for the final phase of an operation aimed at the complete deterrence of Tehran and the securing of navigation under terms of American dominance. The blatant adoption of Turkish positions by the American envoy Thomas Barak marks a dramatic shift in the balance, confronting Greece and Israel with a fait accompli. The proposal for Ankara's return to the F-35 program within 3 months, despite possessing the S-400s, is a strategic betrayal that emboldens Erdogan. Coddling the Sultan and accepting the Turkish framework in Lebanon and Syria do not bring peace, but rather pave the way for a widespread conflict, as Turkey prepares to impose its revisionism with American backing. The upcoming NATO summit in Ankara is emerging as a glorious opportunity for Ottoman expansionism. Iran is applying the 1999 Yugoslavia doctrine, humiliating American assessments. Despite the 12,300 strikes by ENCOM, Tehran retains 50% of its missile capabilities and drones intact, hidden in impregnable underground cities. The strategic depth that has been built since 1982, combined with the relentless flow of aid from Russia and China, makes its complete neutralization impossible. While Trump proclaims victory, the missile crews of Hormuz remain on the trigger. Tehran declares that it will decide how it ends, prepared for a war of attrition that the West cannot endure. CNN blows up Trump's narrative of a defeated Iran, revealing that Tehran retains 50% of its arsenal intact. Despite the 12,300 American targets for eliminating leaders, the underground tunnel cities hide thousands of drones and missiles ready to cause absolute chaos. Donald Trump escalates the nuclear and energy war by imposing a naval blockade on Iranian ports to strangle Tehran's economy. His four objectives: economic elimination of Iran, pressure on China, mobilization of the international community, and reshaping the energy map in favor of the USA, bring the planet to the brink of the abyss. China, which depends on Gulf oil for 40% of its needs, responds with direct threats, stating that the Strait of Hormuz will remain open for them. With oil prices above $100 and Trump threatening Beijing with 50% tariffs, the fragile truce collapses, turning the Gulf into a battleground for superpowers. Washington tightens the noose around Tehran's neck, demanding a 20-year freeze on its nuclear program and the immediate handover of 440 kilograms of enriched uranium. While Iran desperately bargains for a 5-year deal, Trump declares he will accept nothing less than complete submission, directly threatening a ground invasion of Isfahan to forcibly seize the nuclear material. The naval blockade is strangling the Iranian economy, turning the negotiations in Islamabad into a deadlock for the mullahs. Total surrender of uranium or annihilation by American forces. China is implementing an unprecedented strategy of voluntary espionage, where technically skilled citizens, who are actually state agents, channel critical information to Iran through Weibo and WeChat. With viral videos like the F-35 takedown manual with Persian subtitles, Beijing is providing tactical advice on neutralizing American technological superiority. At the same time, Chinese companies with ties to the PLA are using artificial intelligence to analyze OSINT data in real time, giving Tehran a picture of American movements. This is an invisible alliance that turns information into a lethal weapon, allowing China to strike at American interests while maintaining the appearance of diplomatic neutrality. Alexander Dugin warns of a top-level coup in Washington with the dismissal of 12 generals who refused the ground invasion of Iran. The removal of Randy George, David Hawden, and William Green by Pete Hegseth marks the dominance of a fanatic sect that is leading the world to Armageddon. With the resignation of Joe Ken and the expulsion of loyal officials like Susie Wiles, the doctrine of America First is being sacrificed for the sake of an apocalyptic agenda. Washington is turning into a stronghold of an elite that seeks death by tearing down the last bastions of global peace.
Thank you for watching us. To be the first to receive all the latest updates, please like and subscribe to our channel.